Hi Cynthia, it's Andrew here. Just before I pass out for the evening, let's have a start with your essays. So the way these work is I will read them sentence by sentence, and if I think it could be improved, I will read the ideal version from my own mind. So listen very carefully for when my speech differs from what you have written. What we need you to do is essentially correct your own work by listening to the things that I say and changing your writing to match what I have said. In this way, not only will you be required to listen to what's wrong, but you'll be required to address it as well. Over the next 8 essays, this will serve to teach you what your mistakes are and what the solutions to those mistakes are. I've already recommended that you do some more academic reading and listening to allow you to pay more attention to not only the language that is used, but the language that is not used. What's quite important in academic writing is that our language is precise, so no ambiguous terms, nothing like stuff or things, always precise and accurate as physically possible. So let's begin. So here I would say that some people are of the opinion that interactions between family members are becoming less frequent. In my opinion, I completely agree that this is the case. This essay will discuss arguments and use examples regarding the increasing demands of society and the increased use of gadgets to demonstrate points and support arguments. Firstly, the time invested in quality communication in families is negatively affected by people's busy schedules. Good. This is due to the fact that societies, there's no need for this. This is due to the fact that societies demand in regard to professional and educational duties is increasing, leaving minimal time for family interaction. For example, recent research conducted by the Sociologist Society of Russia shows that 85 out of 100 family surveys spent, if it was a survey, it must have been in the past, so spent extended hours. We don't need to say of time, because hours is definitely a measure of time. Spent extended hours at work or school. Over what? So when we use this sort of example, we would have to say it when compared with. So then if we're doing that, we also need to say what the measurement was previously and what it is now. That 85 out of 100 families surveyed spent 3 additional hours of time in work or school when compared with the same people 10 years ago, for instance. Consequently, this leaves them a fewer number of hours per household to engage in purposeful conversation at home. To engage. Secondly, the advent of portable computer gadgets has brought negative effects on the quality and frequency of familial interactions. I'll spell that for you. Familial. This is because the time, and also a recommendation. This is due is better than this is because. And even better, this is due to the fact that the time consumed in entertainment and leisure through computer gadgets, by computer gadgets. This is due to the fact that the time consumed entertainment and leisure by computer gadgets takes away time that could be used, D, to spend with family. To take away is quite informal. We can say to detract. Time consumed in entertainment and leisure, computer gadgets, detracts from time that could be used to spend with family. For instance, a survey conducted by the University of New York, I would say, because we need to be quite specific about who said it. If we're going to use a study, it needs to be specific. Shows that young people and adults, so people then, if it's young people and adults, it's just people, shows that individuals spend an average of 5 days in each week with electronic gadgets or browsing the internet. As a result, the amount of time remaining to devote to family life is greatly compromised. Great phrase. To conclude, from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that the frequency of familial interactions has greatly declined. That's really good. The reason that we recommend one idea per paragraph, well, not only is it the agreed academic format, but it allows you to concentrate more on expanding your idea in a precise manner. So introducing the topic, giving your opinion essentially, but in an objective fashion, and then providing evidence to say, this is not just my opinion, it's based on evidence. It's based on the real world. I have used the scientific method to arrive at my idea. So academic writing by its nature requires you to have original thoughts, to comment on things, but they must be based on evidence. Whether that is just an instance of a person's experience, or whether it is a formal study, it doesn't matter, as long as you can support your argument. But let's move on to the next one. So, it is often thought that a child who is exposed to pleasurable activities develops their creative and social skills much better compared to those who only read books. I completely agree with this point of view, and this essay will discuss this argument and use examples from computer games and sports to demonstrate points and prove arguments, or support arguments even. Firstly, interactive play promotes a positive impact on children's cognitive development. Good. This is due to the fact that activity stimulates brain function, by receiving complex real-world stimuli, so the plural of stimulus, stimuli, complex real-world stimuli, which require the brain to derive meaning. To derive. Take, for an example, a recent study by Harvard that shows that children who play outdoors at least 3 times each week perform significantly better in memory tests versus their counterparts who spend their time in libraries reading books. Thus, it is clear that a wider range of skills can be developed through more engaging and complex activities than reading. Secondly, recreational activities enhance a child's social skills. This is because it provides a platform to engage in meaningful discussions and requires them to form their own thoughts while learning to express them into words. I would mention here simply as well that it's with other people. In your expansion here, meaningful discussions with other children. For instance, a research study conducted recently in Germany showed that 65% of children who grew up in an environment where play was encouraged demonstrated a significantly increased ability to express themselves verbally. Therefore, involving a child in activities that they find worthwhile, I would say here, encourages their social development and results in a more personally skilled adult. Because that's incredibly important, isn't it? We are social animals and we are emotional creatures. And learning to communicate effectively with others, including emotional language, is incredibly important. And it's something that's not really encouraged these days, especially with boys. Boys are told that they don't have feelings and that they should shut up. Stop crying. The world doesn't care how you feel, is the message we all get. But you are correct. Interpersonal skills, creative development, incredibly important. I would also mention here as well that reading is an isolated activity, and children in isolation have been shown to develop mental health problems later in life. Emotional neglect, essentially, is what results from a child being left alone. And an emotionally neglected child will suffer more than anybody else. Somebody whose parents do not develop their emotional abilities will essentially suffer a lifelong depression. Nice and a cheery point for you there. To conclude, from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that children who engage in pleasurable activities gain far more or gain a far wider variety of skills compared to those who read alone. Great. So actually, you express yourself quite well. You seem to be quite confident with the language. I think for you, it's just going to be about increasing precision and really nailing this academic format, expanding your ideas in a confident manner. So like I said, relax, read some stuff, listen to some stuff, but chill out, you've got this. You're not going to have a problem. Listen carefully to the suggestions, ask me any questions you want. I mean, the Google Hangouts chat is great. If you need to ask me something, go ahead. I may not always respond because sometimes I don't want to be at work, but I will whenever I can. But until next time, so what you should do now really is correct your own work. Send us your corrected essays, as well as a list of the errors that you made, your 2 new essays, and I will have them back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for this, pal. It's been lovely. I will speak to you soon.